Before the Greeks wove tales of mighty heroes such as Achilles and Hercules, there existed an even older and grander narrative that has resonated through millennia. Emerging from the heartland of ancient Mesopotamia around 2000 BC, the Epic of Gilgamesh is widely recognized as the world's oldest recorded legend, and now we are going to tell the full story. So sit tight and get ready, because this is a tale that will take you on an extraordinary journey. This epic poem narrates the adventures of Gilgamesh, a legendary king of Uruk, whose name means friend of the forest. He was 2/3 god and 1/3 human. The story begins with Gilgamesh ruling wisely and justly over his people, ensuring peace and prosperity for the kingdom of Uruk. But despite all his achievements, he had a fatal flaw, an overwhelming pride. You see, the gods created Gilgamesh to be the king of Uruk, but they made him so perfect that he became arrogant and oppressive towards his people. Realizing that Gilgamesh's pride was getting out of hand, the gods decided to create a companion for him, someone who would match him in strength and wisdom, but also temper his arrogance with loyalty and camaraderie. Thus, Enkidu was born, a wild man who lived in the forests outside of Uruk from the moment they met. It was clear that these two were destined to become friends. They fought fiercely against each other at first, but after their epic battle ended in a draw, they embraced a deep bond of brotherhood. Together, Gilgamesh and Enkidu were unstoppable, renowned throughout the land as valiant heroes. They went on many adventures together, slaying monsters and completing seemingly impossible tasks. One of their most notable adventures was their battle against the monstrous Humbaba, the guardian of the cedar forest. Despite the odds stacked against them, Gilgamesh and Enkidu emerged victorious, bringing back the cedar wood to rebuild the city walls of Uruk. However, this victory proved to be a double-edged sword. You see, by slaying Humbaba, Gilgamesh had committed an offense against the gods, particularly Enlil, the god of wind and storms, who was the brother of Humbaba. In a fit of divine retribution, Enlil caused a devastating flood to engulf Uruk, wiping out much of its population and leaving Gilgamesh filled with guilt and despair. Now, faced with the suffering of his people and consumed by a deep sense of loss, Gilgamesh embarks on a perilous journey to find the secret of immortality. He seeks out the mythical Utnapishtim, the only mortal who has achieved immortality, hoping to learn the secret and undo the damage he has caused. Along his journey, Gilgamesh encounters many obstacles, both physical and psychological, testing his strength, courage, and resilience. As he journeys to find the secret of immortality, Gilgamesh comes face to face with the harsh realities of mortality. Through his conversations with the gods and other characters he meets on his journey, he learns that immortality is unattainable for mortals, and that death is an inevitable part of the human experience. Despite this disheartening realization, Gilgamesh returns home a changed man. He accepts his own mortality and confronts the reality of his own weaknesses. Throughout his adventures, Gilgamesh displays a range of human emotions, including fear, doubt, and despair. These moments of vulnerability make him a more relatable and sympathetic character, reminding us that even the greatest heroes are not immune to the challenges and hardships of life. In the end, Gilgamesh realizes that true immortality lies not in avoiding death, but in living a meaningful and impactful life. He returns to Uruk with a renewed sense of purpose, ready to face his destiny as a mortal king. When Gilgamesh sets off on his journey, he is accompanied by his loyal friend Enkidu. Together, they face many challenges, and their friendship is put to the ultimate test. However, tragedy strikes when Enkidu falls gravely ill and dies. Gilgamesh is devastated by the loss of his friend and becomes consumed with grief. The death of Enkidu is a pivotal moment in the epic. It is a stark reminder of the inevitability of death and the frailty of human existence. Gilgamesh's grief-stricken reaction to the loss of his friend also highlights the power of human emotion and the profound impact that loss can have on our lives. But the story doesn't end here. After burying his friend, Gilgamesh continues his journey alone. Along the way, he meets various characters who test him both physically and mentally, pushing him to his limits and forcing him to confront his own weaknesses and fears. These trials serve as a reminder that life is full of obstacles and that we must be prepared to face them with courage and determination. Despite the challenges he faces, Gilgamesh remains determined to find the secret of immortality. He believes that if he can achieve immortality, he will be able to escape the pain of losing his friends and loved ones. However, as he journeys on, he begins to realize that immortality may not be attainable for mortals. Through his interactions with the gods and other characters he meets on his journey, Gilgamesh learns that death is a natural part of the cycle of life, and that immortality is reserved for the gods. Now, finally reaching the home of Utnapishtim, Gilgamesh tells the old man about his desire to gain immortality. Utamishtim, who is the only mortal granted immortality by the gods, shares his own story and explains how he earned his immortality. According to Utamishtim, a great flood had been sent by the gods to destroy the world, but Utamishtim was warned of the impending disaster and built a massive boat to save himself, his family, and pairs of every animal species. After the flood subsided, Utnapishtim and his wife were offered immortality by the gods as a reward for their role in preserving life on Earth. Gilgamesh is disappointed to learn that he cannot achieve immortality through any of these means. However, Utnapishtim offers him another option. He tells Gilgamesh that if he can stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights without sleep, the gods will grant him immortality as a reward for his perseverance. Gilgamesh accepts the challenge and begins to count the hours, but after just 12 hours, Gilgamesh succumbs to exhaustion and falls asleep. Upon learning that Gilgamesh has failed the test, the gods decide not to grant him immortality. However, they do reward his efforts by giving him the plant of life, which will restore his youth and vigor. However, on his way back home, Gilgamesh decides to take a quick dip in the nearby river. But while he is bathing, a serpent steals the plant of life. Devastated once again, Gilgamesh returns home without the plant of life, and with it, his hopes of immortality fade away. The finality of this moment underscores the central theme of mortality that runs throughout the epic. Despite his many adventures and his quest for immortality, Gilgamesh must ultimately come to terms with the fact that he is mortal and that death is inevitable. As the epic concludes, we are left to contemplate the meaning of life and the importance of accepting our own mortality. Throughout the epic, Gilgamesh undergoes a significant transformation. He begins as a brash and arrogant king, but through his adventures and his interactions with other characters, he learns humility, compassion, and the value of human connection. The epic's exploration of these themes continues to resonate with readers today, reminding us of the importance of living a meaningful life and accepting the natural order of things. So that was the full story of the Epic of Gilgamesh. If you enjoyed this full narrative video, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. Your support means everything to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the story. What did you think of Gilgamesh's journey? Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on our exciting new videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.